What's up, everybody? Today I'm here to talk about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, especially that finale, and this will be my overall review of the whole series, and it will be filled with spoilers, so you have been warned. If you haven't seen the series yet, you should not watch this video. So without further ado, let's talk about it because there is a lot to discuss. Okay, so when Disney announced that they were going to, they're going to make the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I was excited and worried at the same time, mostly because I don't think Disney is too keen into keeping up with continuity. And I'm talking about the sequels, the whole bringing Palpatine back to me was just a no-no. So here we have this beloved character, and all I wanted to see was Obi-Wan versus Anakin, and I did get that, and I think the finale was something that we definitely need to discuss. But before I get to the finale, let's talk about the first couple of episodes. So when the series started, I was a little bit disappointed. I knew that Obi-Wan would be a bit depressed, that he would be, I kind of knew the stage that he was in, but at the same time, I just think the first couple of episodes were not very engaging, and I was getting a little bit nervous. I was like, oh no, I really wanted to like this. So I feel like the series started off really like in a slow pace. I think the action scenes at the beginning, they were not very good. Even though I think the acting was fantastic, it was probably one of the best things. I want to talk specifically about the little girl, Leia. I thought she was a great Leia, especially because, she was feisty, she had that Leia spirit. She was absolutely adorable. And for an actor so young, I think she delivered it brilliantly. I love her character. I thought she was adorable. However, it does, if you think about continuity, and this is not really like a criticism, but it's something that came to my mind. You have the idea on the New Hope that Leia has not met Obi-Wan before, especially when, in the message that she sends to Obi-Wan is that, oh, you knew my father, you helped my father in the Clone Wars and things like that. So that whole speech really, she doesn't mention that she knows him, nor that she had this big adventure with him before. So I was like a little bit concerned about that, but on the other hand, I think I wasn't too harsh on it, mostly because when you're 10 years old, it's like your life is flashbacks. You don't fully remember everything that happened. Thinking back when I was 10, I think she was 10 or 8, I don't know, she's really young. You wouldn't fully remember everything. I think you just remember the most maybe scary things or I don't know. So it was weird for continuity's sake that he already knew Leia. But I think overall the series really worked. I loved Obi-Wan interaction with Leia, especially towards the end when, I teared up a little bit when he told Leia she had the qualities both of her mother and her father. And that was just an incredible scene. And talking about Ewan McGregor, oh my God, I want to tear up just to think about seeing him back as Obi-Wan. That was really awesome. And Hayden back as Vader and Anakin, mostly Vader, it was also really, really, it was a great experience. And I will talk about the finale because that's something that it got me emotional, and I thought that finale kind of saved the series for me because there was a lot of little things that I don't think it was working at the very beginning. And let's talk about Reva. Reva is also this new character that a lot of people were complaining about the character, as I see, but to be quite honest, at the very first episode, I was not sold on Reva, mostly because when she goes ahead and just calls Vader Anakin, I was like, what? That is a major secret. She should not be saying that. And then by the second episode, I was thinking in my mind, how would she know him, and how dare would she even mention that he's Anakin? That's a huge secret. But then I already knew that she must have been at the temple. She must have been part of Order 66. That was the only way that she knew both Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker. And I thought that towards the end, her arc was very well I mean, I bought it that she would indeed know Anakin and maybe refer to him as Anakin because she knew him as a Jedi, as the master. So I thought that was a great twist, even though I didn't think the character was brilliant at all the time. I mean, she was really evil, what she did to get revenge. I was like, oh my goodness. And one of the things with Reva that I thought not bothered me, but I just thought, oh, this is like for plot's sake here, is the fact that first and foremost, her fight with Anakin was awesome. Vader, I had to call him Vader, when he's literally just toying with her and using the Force. That was amazing to watch. I love that. But there are a couple of things that it was a little bit weird to me. The fact that he let her live, and obviously, to me, is the only way I can explain that scene, is that he allowed her to live, because there was no way that we've seen in the New Hope that Anakin would just kill people left and right, and that was not the first time that he let Reva go. The first time where he thought that she had let Obi-Wan escape, but in fact she said no, I have a tracker and all of that. That very moment I was like, oh, okay. But the way that they wrote Vader, it was a little bit odd, but at the same time, I understand now that the series ended that this is not that Darth Vader yet. He's still, I think he's always had this struggle between the light and the dark side. At the end of the day, I think Padme was right. There was still good in him. That was the only reason Luke was able to redeem him. So I like that struggle, and the fact that he knew all along that she was a Padawan. I think he was letting her live. So that's how I'm going to explain that scene. And that's why that scene worked for me. Even though it was weird that she survived twice getting, punched in the gut by a lightsaber. That was a little bit unbelievable. But for plot's sake, I think it worked. So at the end of the day, at the very beginning, I was not really into, and I was not really liking this character, and I was concerned that they were going to pay more attention to this character rather than focus on Obi-Wan and Anakin, because obviously we're here for that. But the fact that her story ties in so well with Obi-Wan and Vader, it was just, I liked that. I thought it was a great twist. My biggest criticism here in this series is, like I said, the first couple of episodes I think was very slow paced, not very well developed. Some of the action scenes were really poor, and I was very surprised because, this is Disney. They have so many resources, and the action scenes, it was just not great. One specifically is when Leia is being abducted. There was this alien running after her, and literally with his legs open and running. So I was like, this is not what am I watching? It really felt like a cheap TV show. I didn't like that. I didn't like the way it was shot. I thought something was missing, and that was the heart, the struggles. There was also new characters that I didn't care very much. For instance, we have this new commander that helps Obi-Wan and Leia. She's infiltrated in the Empire, and she was also one of the Game of Thrones actress. And her character, in my opinion, was sort of a waste of time. And when she dies, they made this huge dramatic death scene. I didn't really care, mostly because there was not enough time to flesh out the character's story. So I couldn't care less that she died. It was not like the Rogue One, where we spend a whole movie with those characters, and towards the end it's sort of heartbreaking what happens. But here, this character, she just pops in and pops out, and there's not enough for me to care. So I thought that scene where she's literally sacrificing herself really meant nothing to me, and I thought that character was just not even necessary, to be honest. And it was a little bit frustrating as well how Obi-Wan at the first couple of episodes was just being kind of dumb. I mean, this is a master Jedi. I know that he is out of practice, but that doesn't mean he does not have a brain. For instance, there was this scene where I think it's episode 2 or 3, I don't remember, where he needs to turn something off in order to grow to go through, and literally I was like, why don't you just jump over it or go around? There was a couple of things that just was really, really weird. However, we are going to talk about that finale, because that finale brought me to tears. I mean, that's exactly what I wanted to see. And I have a lot of thoughts about Anakin versus Obi-Wan. That scene was so emotional, mostly because the acting that Ewan McGregor delivered, it was absolutely fantastic. You know, when he said, I'm sorry, I was like tearing up so much, because I understand this story is so tragic. You know, the fact that that was his brother, his best friend, and he did what he did, it's just all this mixed feeling. It was fantastic acting. And oh my God, how I love that when he slashed Vader's, helmet, where we can see his eyes, and what they did, where they put the Vader versus Anakin voice. That was just, I was here for that. You know, to me, that was worth the entire show. That scene was just gold, and I don't think it poses a problem with continuity, because we know in A New Hope that Obi-Wan knew that Vader existed. He knew that he was more machine than man. And I liked that at the very beginning of Obi-Wan series, he basically does not know that Anakin survived, and was River who told him. And I think that was very well told. So to me, they didn't really destroy continuity here, and it really worked. Especially because when he tells Obi-Wan in A New Hope that he hadn't seen him in a long time. I mean, what is a long time? Is it 10 years? Is it 5 years? Is it 20 years? We don't really know. So I think the series really worked with that, and that Vader fighting Obi-Wan was fantastic. I love the Force powers. I love how Obi-Wan went back to being the strong Obi-Wan again towards the end. I love the heartbreak, and Anakin, how terrible and tragic that story was, and I could tell that he was also, Vader is very, very powerful, but I felt that the reason he didn't win that fight, it was not because he's less than Obi-Wan or less powerful or anything like that. I think it's because he was very conflicted. I don't think he wanted to kill Obi-Wan, because that is his best friend. And I think the Emperor at the very end says it best, when he literally say, are you sure your feelings, your mind is not clouded by your old master? I think that was brilliant. Another great appearance. And obviously, to me, that scene, the way that it was shot, the music. Oh, let's talk about the music. My biggest, a lot of stuff that I didn't understand is that why weren't they using original Star Wars music here with original characters? We just hear the Imperial March at the very end, and I don't know if that was for a dramatic effect, but we already know this song, and I think it should have been earlier, in my opinion, but it did work at the very end as well. And I really loved how they brought Qui-Gon back. That was also another very interesting thing that they did. And it's also, to me, it works because Obi-Wan eventually also will learn how to become a Force ghost in the future, right? Because, he will teach that to Luke and so forth. But anyways, guys, out of a 10, I believe Obi-Wan was a strong 8. I mean, we had some really slow episodes, some bad action scenes, and some great action scenes. But towards the end, what they did with Obi-Wan and Vader, I was very happy. I loved the scene. I loved the way it was shot. I loved when his face was like red and his eyes would change, and and I just. To me, that is just so, it was not just nostalgic, but I think that finale was done well. I really enjoyed that. I'm not sure if they should continue the story. I mean, they could. There's a lot of stuff that they could potentially still do. Luke was not in the story very much, but I think that worked as well. In fact, I think Luke would probably know Ben Kenobi, Obi-Wan, more than Leia. So that was probably the one thing that we could discuss, because Leia really seemed not to know Obi-Wan in A New Hope. But overall, that's just something that I will forgive because that very end and that scene was fantastic. And yes, if they were to continue, I just hope that the timeline wouldn't jump, because we shouldn't really go. It needs to be a really long period of time before Vader sees Obi-Wan again because of A New Hope. So potentially, if they stay on that same timeline and year, working with young Luke and maybe young Leia, perhaps they could still do stuff, but maybe more with Luke this time, because Leia is supposed to forget about Obi-Wan, things like that. But anyways, guys, strong 8. I definitely recommend watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that is my review. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more. See you next time.